Thanks for the introduction. My name is Christian, and I'm currently acting as the WEkEO Data Portfolio Manager. And in my role, basically, I just overlook that what is the catalog offer, that everything's in place, and the things are that we can update about changes in that catalog. So I have an overview that I wanted to share with you as well. I wanted to share with you some highlights about the type of products that you can find in WEkEO, and then focusing more, of course, in the forest monitoring. Currently on WEkEO, you can find more than 450 different data sets covering all the different Copernicus services, as well as Sentinel missions. And so just as at a glance, the different services, what they provide. So starting with the Copernicus Land and Monitoring Service, which is the most relevant for this topic. It provides from global data sets, but has a particular focus on pan-European data sets covering land and its monitoring, not just the EU or Europe, but also other collaborating countries and also territories beyond sea. It also has some data sets that are local because of interest, like the Natura Network 2000, and so on. But we'll look a bit more into the different data sets in a couple of slides. Then we've got the Copernicus Marine Environment Monitoring Service, which has a full range of variables and data sets covering all aspects of the ocean, from blue ocean, more on the physics, like temperatures, currents, ocean circulation, but also on the green ocean, or anything to do in biogeochemistry, primary production, oxygen, nutrients, etc. And of course, the white ocean, or anything to do with the cryosphere and sea ice and snow. So you will find data that comes from models, but also from observations and large observing programs, and in situ data as well. Yes. So in the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service, you'll find also again a few data sets covering the composition of the atmosphere, and covering from, well, usually global, but you can also find some regional data sets as well. And you will find also a lot of variables that are used in forcing models as well, and different forcings, and data on analysis, pre-analysis, forecast, and products as well on air quality. So it's a full range as well, but of course it's more focused on the gas composition of the atmosphere. Then we also have the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which is, it contains a lot, many data sets related to climate change, combining a range of in situ observations, satellite information, model data to provide products and variables that are often used to understand, monitor, and project changes in our climate. And then finally, we also have some data sets from the Copernicus Emergency Management Service, mostly related to floods and flood information. And then again, the different data from the different Sentinel missions with different levels of processing. Now that was a sort of an overview of the different services and a few of the products that we find, but now we're going to talk a bit more about those products from the land monitoring service that have been provided kindly by EEA. Again, I'm not an expert on forest monitoring, but I can give you a highlight as well of the main products that are related to this topic. So starting with the high resolution layer, it's one of the most important. You will find information about tree cover and forest. And then it's an essential tool to understand, forest dynamics across Europe. So the first one, the first variable or information that you can find is the tree cover density, which gives a detailed canopy density measurement, going from 0 to 100 of cover. And it has a 10-meter spatial resolution, and it covers the EEA 38, which is the countries covering the EEA, but also a few participating countries in the Copernicus Land Monitoring Service. So it is updated regularly, and it has over 90% of accuracy. The resolution, the temporal resolution is annual. Next, we've got the dominant leaf type, which is a classification between coniferous or broadleaf, usually. It offers the same resolution, 10 meters, and annual. And finally, you can also find the forest type, which is that difference classification between coniferous and broadleaf, but also specifying the type of forest following the FAO forest definition. And it has some filtering to do with the tree cover density and a minimum mapping unit of 0.5 hectares. It also includes trees in urban and agricultural settings. And the resolution is 10 meters, but also it's less frequent, so every 3 years. Another interesting layer that you can find in this service. Sorry, before we move on, this is an example of, it's not updating automatically. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, here we go. Oops. Sorry, there's a small delay. That was an animation that compares these two these variables, the tree cover density and the dominant leaf type, comparing 2 years, 2018 to 2021. In the animation in the center, you can see how it's changing year to year. This is a good example of how tree cover density can be used, for instance, to assess deforestation or even land cover change. So you can see that sort of how it drastically changes in that particular parcel from one year to the other. The next data set that we will be talking about, and there's a small delay, here we go, is the high resolution layer for vegetation phenology and productivity, spanning from 2017 to 2023, but there's also some information from 2024, I believe, already. Yes, because it's near real time. So the resolution is 10 meters, and you will find information on phenology and productivity, which is crucial for insights into vegetation health and productivity. So again, 10 meters resolution with phenology that helps us observe vegetation growth cycles and how they change over time. And it is near real time. So that's really important for monitoring. Near real, when we talk about near real time in WEkEO, it's basically daily products usually, or sometimes hourly, but in this case it's daily, and it is provided just a few 1 or 2 days or just a few days after it is obtained. And that's why it's also near real time. And there's future prospects to develop, which are disturbances, both biotic, abiotic, anthropogenic, and biomass productivity in gross and net productivity. And finally, we've got small woody and landscape features layer, which is a data set on components of landscape connectivity and ecological networks. So this layer is very high resolution, so it has a 5-meter resolution, but is updated every 3 years. And it gives information about it maps small woody features, such as hedgerows, isolated trees, patches of shrubs, etc., which are crucial again for biodiversity and connectivity to larger habitats, and also for ecosystem resilience and biodiversity conservation. And with that, I will be finishing. This is a summary table provided by EEA about the different indicators, forest connectivity type, tree cover density, forest area, etc., and a summary of the resolution. So again, that's a bit of an overview of what we can find on WEkEO, especially for forest monitoring. And thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Christian, for your nice presentation. So right now we don't have any question, I think. We will wait like 30 seconds to see if something comes, but it was a really clear presentation. So
Thank you. Again, I'm not an expert on forest monitoring, and I'm sure my colleagues here will give very nice presentations that will be a lot more informative about the use of these data sets as well. If there's also any questions about WEkEO as a whole, yeah, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, so yeah, right now if you have questions, it's for the products mainly in general, but the expert on forest will come right after. But yeah, no, so I don't see any question coming. So let me check, I will look in the chat, but so yeah, just I see one question in the chat about the availability of the data. So you have data all around the globe and in Europe, so you can find everything you need. And also for the more general question about certificate, replays, and presentation, after the second day, so Friday, you will receive by email a certificate of participation. And like 1 week after the event, you will also receive an email with the links to the PDF presentation and the replays of the event if you want to watch again, or if you need the presentation and if you find some slides interesting. But yeah, I think we will move on to the next. Oh, wait. Is this software free? So we have a question. Is this software free? So yes, so you can access and download the data for free. So, and yeah, that's it. After, if you want to use Python or MATLAB or QGIS to look at the data, you are free to do so. So, okay. So, oh yeah, so now we have plenty of questions coming. So what is the difference when I use the Copernicus data on my own versus via WEkEO? So actually it's the same data, but I will leave Christian speak more about it if he wants.
Yeah, so yeah, the source data is the same, actually it's stored in the same place. So the difference, well, in WEkEO, it's in the platform, you can explore the data in a very quick way, really accessible. You can navigate between different times and space, and the loading of data is really fast. So it's really easy to explore it and then select specific areas that you may want to download. And besides that sort of data viewer, you've got also other benefits of using WEkEO in terms of cloud computing, etc., and notebooks that facilitate the processing and the download of data.
Yeah, okay. So this question that we more or less already answered. So yes, you have forest data all around the globe, obviously where there is forest, but yeah, you can find everything you need on the catalog.
Yeah, and it's just to say that the data sets that we talked about, which are provided by EEA, are European initiatives. So most of them are European cover, but there's some global products on WEkEO on this topic as well.
Yeah. Are there any plans to include data on historic wildfires and or wildfire risk? So if I'm not mistaken, we have data on the wildfires.
Yes, this is correct. There's a few data sets. I think they are allocated in the Copernicus climate change service, which historical wildfires and many other variables on this topic.
Okay. Can I use the data, I guess, without downloading the data? So actually, on Friday, we will have a demonstration of the WEkEO viewer. So I invite you to connect on the second day. You will see how you can visualize the data without downloading it. So it's a really nice, it will be a really nice presentation. So yes,
I recommend it. I recommend it because the viewer works really well and it's really convenient to explore the data before you even download it.
yeah. So is this available for smaller companies working on marine and land agroforestry service, and what are the costs? So yes, Christian, you can go if you want.
Yeah, the access of the data is free. In terms of licensing, I'm not sure if there's any specific license, but I think it's free to use.
Yeah, you can use the data freely. And it's also linked to the next question about the computing power. So just running a Jupyter Notebooks mean computing, could you specify whether we can use algorithm on the available data? So when I said the WEkEO computer power is you need to pay, so it's not all of the computing power. So I don't have the detail here in my presentation, but if you look at on the website, you can have like a lot more of CPU to run your codes and scripts and stuff like that. But depending on the capacity of the CPU and storage you will use, you will need to pay not a membership, but you will need to pay a little bit money to use this computer power. But usually the basic one is more than enough if it's just for small data and stuff like that. Okay.
As a user, I've never had to use the additional capabilities. So for regular operations, it's the free service. It's more than enough. Yes, I agree.
Oops. Yeah. Lots of questions coming, so we will have to stop at 30, but we will try to answer as much as possible. So is geospatial data will be available to us, or can we download it for free? So
yeah. So again, what you see on WEkEO is free to access, free to use, free to download.
Okay, all the data free for download, even all the data are free to download, even the high resolution one. So all of the catalog is free to view and download. Yes, so you can download anything for free. Is
right.
the yeah,
Wait,
is the
sorry.
yeah, sorry. Is the data set available monthly with same accuracy? So
right. So depends on the data set. Some of them are annual, the other ones are near real time. And I would think, I mean, in terms of accuracy, yes, it is true that some products are processed later when they are not near real time. Sometimes some products have additional processing, but in terms of the resolution and in general, the accuracy should be the same if it's provided at that resolution. Not all products are provided at monthly resolution or even day.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks. So we will do 2 more questions and then we will have to move on. But for all of the unanswered questions after the event, we try to do a post-event report when we answer all of the unanswered questions to make it available for you. So no worries about that. Are there any delays when downloading the data? For example, for the LMS, you need to wait before the download is ready for some of its products. So yeah, if it's wait to the download to be complete. Yeah, I don't know if
And Yeah, and then the same with WEkEO, when you select an area or a download, it needs to be prepared. It's in the backend. So there's sometimes a small delay, but you can track it. You can see how long that is, and it's not generally it's not a big delay.
Yeah.
Unless I suppose if you're trying to download a massive amount of data, that's I guess the larger the data set, the longer it takes to be prepared. And then once it's prepared, you can see as a job in WEkEO, then you can download that job.
Yeah. And finally, so it will be the last question. Are there plans to integrate the data available on WEkEO in the Copernicus data space ecosystem, which we use for Sentinel-2 data download and processing? I don't know about that. I don't know if you know. Okay, so we will.
No, I'm not familiar about the
So
Copernicus
I
planning.
think we have one of the use case that might have the answer. So Miko, if you want to take the lead on this question, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. This is more a question that I'm also the Finnish delegate to the Copernicus committee, where we, of course, kind of manage in a way the top level of these things. So in essence, I think WEkEO products could end up in the Copernicus data space ecosystem, and vice versa. Like Copernicus data space ecosystem material could be in WEkEO, and they try not to be kind of for real, like in two different places, but it's more like that the APIs are actually such that from different places you get to different places, but both of these are still also evolving and not just static. So that's why I would say at this moment, most of the like direct Sentinel data, it's the Kubernetes data space ecosystem. And then when you come to the services and the like higher level, like value added products, there you go to the WEkEO. That's the simplest answer for this.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. So thank you very much for taking the lead